Hello and welcome to the Art of Decluttering podcast. I'm your host, Amy Revell. Welcome back to another week of the show. We have so many episodes out there for you to listen to, from everything from paperwork to sentimental items to working with kids to mental health conditions to like how to deal with guilt and shame. There's 500 odd episodes. So if you're new to the show, welcome. Please feel free to go back and have a look at the back catalogue. Nobody is expecting you to catch up on every single episode. However, you can jump on my website and have a bit of a look through categories, or whatever podcast player you're listening on. You can just scroll back through. And I've tried to keep the titles like only a couple of words long, so it's really clear what each episode is about. Now, this week we're talking about independence. And sometimes when people think about how do you achieve independence? It's via support. But sometimes the mental picture that can come into your mind is support is all about reliance. So if I provide support to you, like we do as professional organisers coming into people's homes, we provide support for people to achieve their decluttering and organising goals. But support doesn't mean reliance. It doesn't mean that we're coming in and doing it for you. So much of what professional organisers do and what we do at the Art of Decluttering is with you. So it's really about building your capacity, and good support builds independence. So what I want to start off with reminding you is that if you need any help with decluttering and organising, it doesn't mean you can't do it on your own. It just means you're choosing to learn how to do it quickly and efficiently in a way that works for your brain, in a way that works for your home and the way that you live and the season that you are in life at the moment. It doesn't mean you can't. It just means you're choosing to do it with support. For instance, I totally could do Pilates at home on my own every day of the week if I wanted to. I have the skills to do it. I have the time to do it. I've got the equipment to do it. However, what I choose to do is I have a Pilates instructor that I go and do my class with, because I know that she's going to get the most out of our time together. I don't have to kind of think about, what should I do next? And how do I know that I'm working all the muscle groups? And how do I know when I'm progressing and when to go up? She thinks about all that. And it's the same with decluttering and organising. Getting support is actually a really smart idea, because ultimately the support that you get from a professional organiser should be leading to independence. So if you're getting the type of support that you want and you actually do want to achieve independence, there's definitely people out there that independence is not their goal. And if that's you, that's absolutely fine. Keep listening though, because there might be other people in your home or people that you work with that do want to achieve that independence. And so independence doesn't mean you have to do it alone. It might mean that you have the skills to lead decluttering. So it might be that you choose to do it with your partner or your kids. So independent doesn't mean like solo, all on your own. There you go, pat on the back, you're right, you've got this. It can mean building your skills. It can mean that feeling of independence might be around knowing where things belong, knowing how to decide what to keep and what to declutter, knowing how to reset a space when things get like a little bit chaotic and you're like, oh, I can see that this space has got cluttered again. That independence might be your skill in actually knowing how to reset that space. And you guys know that decluttering is a set of skills that you can learn. It's not just a personality trait of like those people who are born organized. There's not a gene. So far as we know, it's not a gene that makes you organized or disorganized. It's skills that you can learn. So I want to share around some of the steps to becoming independent, and I want to share a couple of client stories from the last week that I thought would encourage you. So sometimes people take a little bit of time to warm up to even believing that they could achieve independence or even wanting to. Sometimes we work with clients who they actually don't want to do the work. They want us to do it, or they just believe, based on their disabilities, based on their life experience, based on the stories people have told them, that they can't achieve the independence. They can't do the decluttering and organising on their own. And so sometimes it can take like building up a bit of trust. And so I want to share with you a story we had from a client last week, and it was a teenage girl that we were working with who was completely disengaged in the first session. Didn't want to have anything to do with what we were doing, even though it was in her space. She'd given us permission to do it with her mum. She didn't want to be involved. However, by the end of session 2, she was really involved. She was excited by the progress she'd made, and she felt really confident in her capacity to actually, continue on the work. Now, what was the difference between her complete disengagement and then her like, oh my gosh, I feel independent? Well, a lot of it was just around building trust. And I think that there's a really strong correlation between trust and independence. And one of the things that you would know when you're working in any environment is that sometimes if you've got someone who's disengaged, you just need to give them opportunity to engage, just to invite them. And trust builds as they kind of get closer to taking up on that invitation. And so it is really important to build trust with someone when you're empowering them with the skills to be independent in their decluttering and organizing. It's like the trust is the foundation. And then you go through that, and this is how, and these are the skills, and then the outcome is that independence that we're looking for. So trust, even though it might seem like, how is trust the foundation of independence? It's that person trusting in you that you'll teach them right. It's them trusting in themselves that they can actually learn the skills. And then it's, really putting their trust in themselves and the situation and their own knowledge and their own skills in the independence when they actually tackled a bedroom and they're going, oh, I can do this. This is working. This is awesome. So sometimes that transfer of skills and that building of independence is really quick, and other times it's really slow. We had a client that we worked with at the end of 2025, and we did just 2 sessions with them. And we called them again this week because they'd said, I think we'll give it a go over Christmas, New Year, but touch base with us in January and we'll see if we need to book any more sessions. So I want to read to you the message that one of our team got when they reached out to this client. It says, I just got awesome feedback from this client in Frankston. He doesn't need any more sessions because you helped him create momentum and space and energy, and he's continuing all on his own. He was even working in the garage when I called. You could hear the lightness in his voice. Like, that is why it's so important to have that trust and then that skill development and then that independence. One of our team leader, Jackie, then commented back in our group chat about how important it is for us as professional organisers to motivate, educate and upskill our clients to the point where they don't need us anymore. So, unlike some professions where the idea is like you get a client and they're your client for life, actually as professional organisers, we want to be with you for a short period of time. We want to impart skills and knowledge. We want to get your home to a maintainable position. And then we want to step back. And then we check in and we're like, hey, how are you going? Do you need any help? Do you need some support? Maybe they're like, actually, some things changed in our home. We had a new baby. The family separated and moved into different houses. I've moved jobs, or I've moved work, or I'm working from home, whatever it is, like situations change. And then we might pop back in and do a session and continue building that independence and then go back again and just be called in when we're needed. So it is really lovely as a professional organizer when we see that independence. And that feeling is available to you if you're working with a partner, or a child, or a parent, or you're working with someone else in your own home. If you're working with a kid and the kid is absolutely not going to have a bar of the decluttering and organizing, maybe you go with the invitation model. Say, hey, I'm just going to spend 10 minutes decluttering books that I know you don't read anymore. I'd love you to come in and contribute and help me make some decisions. And then just leave it at that. Give them the opportunity. And then you do whatever you need to do for little short periods of time. If you said to them, hey, for the next 6 hours, we're going to go through your entire room, top to bottom, go through everything. I mean, even I would feel overwhelmed by that. So small snippets of invitation. And then when they come, you just speak out loud and you teach the skills. And so you can do that for the people that you're working with in the same way that you listen to a podcast like this to get the skills and develop that for yourself. You can impart that to other people, which is a really important part too of your independence. Because when you teach someone else, you totally reinforce in your brain and the way that your brain works on how to do it and how to get better at it. So sometimes when you're working with someone and you actually finding that they're taking a little bit longer. So maybe you've got a kid and you're thinking, goodness, it's been 3 years, Amy. I don't know what to do. They're taking forever. It's sometimes just a matter of more time, more repetition, more reassurance that you're doing the right thing. And we definitely find that with some clients, and you may find that for yourself. If you've tackled an area and you're like, I don't even know if I did that right, and you kind of feel a little bit unassured in yourself, or a bit like questioning, did I do it right? How's this going to work out? Sometimes just tackling the next little bit or the next little bit, or getting some more information, read a book, watch a YouTube channel, listen to a podcast, like you'll start to kind of develop that, and that confidence helps you lead to independence. So we love it when we do ourselves out of a job, because I will always say to anyone who's looking at joining the professional organizer industry, in 11 years, I've never run out of work. I've never run out of inquiries. I've never run out of clients. We're good at what we do, and that's definitely part of it. But part of it too is that there are homes all over Melbourne, all over Australia, all over the world that need someone to come in and help them build these skills for independence, and to help them. Maybe people are just time poor. And so maybe the independence is not so much in the skill development. They just don't independently have enough time. And so having someone come along and body double or work and kind of take their direction and do the work for them can sometimes be part of what having a really well-functioning home looks like. Okay, one of the things that I wanted to bring up with you is some things that you can avoid to not undermine independence in other people. So these are kind of those like things where you say something or you do something and it just undermines the person that you're trying to build the independence in. And I think it's important just to call those out, because I think we sometimes do them, without even meaning to, with good intentions, because maybe the decluttering and organizing comes super easy to you. Or maybe the person that's teaching you, it comes super easy to, and you need to kind of say to them, hey, I need you to do this so that I can actually learn and be independent myself. The one that I see the absolute most of is rushing. And it's when you kind of are pushing, and you're making people rush decisions. Because often rush decisions don't feel good. Even if you would end up making the same decision in 3 or 5 minutes time, when you feel rushed, you don't also have time for that decision to settle. And when you're rushed, it's really hard to kind of develop skills, because you're almost like jogging on the spot, trying to catch up with the person that's like pushing ahead. And as professional organizers, we don't want to do that. But you don't want to do that either when you're working with someone else or trying to have your own independence built. You might have to say to someone, hey, I'm so glad you're here helping me. I need you to slow down because I'm falling behind. One of the things that I think as parents, it's easy for us to do this one, and that's like taking over. If someone's not getting rid of the right amount of things, or not putting things away where they belong, or not doing the maintenance, we're like, it's just quicker and easier for me to do it myself. Which may be true today, but is definitely not true long term, because you actually want to empower your kids to have those skills as they move into adulthood. So resist the urge to take over. And the other thing can be is we sometimes set up these perfect looking spaces, and it might be the before and after photos you see in places, or you might watch an Instagram reel and think, my goodness, that kitchen, that pantry, that bedroom is perfect. But if we haven't actually taught the person how to maintain it, how to put things away where they belong, what to do when you get new things, what to do when you're getting rid of things, then you're kind of leaving someone with like only like 50, 60, 70% of the information. It's really important to also think, how do I give them the skills that they can maintain this long term? My Head, Heart and Home course is a brilliant example of how to maintain things long term, because it's not just about like having a pretty space. It's about like the thoughts and the mindsets and the traps that you come into, and how to use your time well, and what storage works, and how do you maintain and have the habits around keeping a space the way that you want it to be. So that's a resource that you might like to do. I'll put a quick link in the show notes for you. Listeners, independence is really important. And if you don't have independence yet, if you don't feel confident and able to do the decluttering on your own, that doesn't mean you won't be there one day. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. And it doesn't mean that you're incapable of doing this thing. It just means you're still learning the skills. For instance, I can't do a handstand, but it doesn't mean I couldn't one day if I wanted to, with the right support around me. I don't want to, just in case anyone starts sending me don't send me DMs with clips on how to do handstands. I absolutely don't want to do that skill. However, I really do think that for skills, they can be taught. So if you need to surround yourself, I'm 8-9 years into having published my book about decluttering and organizing, and not a week has gone by where I haven't sold at least 1 or 2 or 3 copies, because there's always a need for this. People are developing that skill. It's definitely not something they teach in school. And so learning it through professionals and learning it through, side-by-side learning is a really great way to do it. So I want to remind you that support is really important, and that when you build trust, that you build on that trust with systems and processes, and you teach someone how to do it. that ends up with independence. And that's what we want for our clients. That's what I want for you, my friend. And I know that when you're working with your friends and saying, hey, I'm happy to come over and help you on Saturday. I heard you say that you were stuck, whether you're working with your kids or you're working with your parents, that can be even trickier. Building that independence is really important. So until next week, enjoy the freedom.